Well, back to this Sunday evening. It's coming up to 3 minutes past 10. And now this week's drama on 3, a radio adaptation of Ian Burnside's play, A Soldier and a Maker, about the tragic life of the World War I poet and songwriter Ivor Gurney. The play was developed in collaboration with the Guildhall School of Music and Drama and interweaves Gurney's own music, his poems and letters. It does contain some strong language. A Soldier and a Maker stars Stephanie Cole, Gemma Redgrave and Richard Golding. The director is Philip Franks.
It was just too far away. People would say, why not go up London, see your brother locked away up Kent? But it's not so easy. Who'd mind my caravan? Nowadays, they give him a pill. 2 pills, one for his tummy, one for his mind. And besides, would I have got a welcome once I reached the gates? With Ivor, you were never sure what was going on inside that head of his. They called it a hospital, but everyone knew. Asylum is an ugly word, but someone has to say it.
A Soldier and a Maker by Ian Burnside.
Cuppa, Mr. G. Oh, now look, you've hardly touched that last one. Why do we bother? I'll just put it over here.
Not there. Not on the letters. Never on the books.
All right, keep your hair on, touchy. How do you expect us to keep this room clean with all this mess of papers is beyond me. What will the doctor say? Books everywhere? All these scraps of paper, your precious...
Move him on out, Ivor. You deserve some quiet, chum. All soldiers need a bit of quiet.
That nice Miss Scott is coming in tomorrow. We'll have to spruce you up for that. Taking you out again, is she? Running the motor, that'll do you the power of good. You might even get down to the coast. A breath of sea air.
I have come to the borders of sleep, the unfathomable deep forest where all must lose their way.
Stop! Not now, Tug. Not again. When the body might free, and there was use in walking, in October time, crystal air time, and free words were talking in my mind, with light tunes and bright streams ran free, when the earth smelt, leaves shone and air and cloud had glee. Then there was salt in life, but now none is known to me, who cannot go either where the white is blown of the grass, or scarlet willow herb of past memory. Nothing is sweet to thinking, nothing from life free.
With my here it goes, there it goes, all the fun's before.
Is that a beer bottle, Mr. Tailor?
Schubert's written us a drinking song. I'm entering into the spirit.
The Royal College of Music takes a very dim view of alcohol on the premises.
Ein Trinklied, Miss Scott. We have a rehearsal shortly with Schubert himself, round the corner.
We string players find refreshment more effective after rehearsal rather than before.
Oh, Miss Scott, that reminds me. Is it true you're starting up your own string quartet? With another girl?
One other woman, yes, and 2 men.
Do you know, I rather think some of the chaps might be able to help you. Set up your music stands.
You are welcome at any time to join the Society of Women Musicians. All men are. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Schubert. Can you imagine Schubert walking 20 miles at night, tramping over the Cotswolds in those terrible muddy boots, sailing a boat up the Severn in a howling gale? Both men wore round spectacles, and there the resemblance ended. Mind you, that boat nearly killed Gurney long before the Battle of the Somme. The Dorothy. They bought it for £5, Ivor and Will Harvey, And they'd sail it out in all weathers. The stormier, the better. It was his blue 7 pilot's coat that Ivor was wearing that day we met. The first time he came striding into my room at the Royal College of Music.
Miss Scott?
Can I help you?
Am I in the right place to sign up for that splendid assembly of South Kensington manhood known colloquially as the Student Union? You do admit students from Gloucestershire, don't you?
And you are?
Gurney, IB. Ivor Bertie Gurney.
Address?
Number 3, Queen Street, Gloucester.
Your London address, Mr. Gurney.
Fulham. 15 Berkeley Road, Fulham.
Aha! The new composition scholar, if I'm not mistaken. Studying with Sir Charles.
Yes, I'm a Stanford man now, Miss Scott. Not that he cares much for me or my music.
Well, I've been a Stanford man myself, Mr. Gurney. And I suggest you wait before drawing too many conclusions. The trick with Sir Charles is knowing how much is bark and how much bite. It can take a little getting used to.
Excuse me, Miss Scott. Come on, Ivor. Chop, chop. The chaps are getting thirsty.
Hold your horses. Might I also ask you, Miss Scott, is it true you're starting up your own string quartet?
Yes, I am.
Might I write something for you? I consider the string quartet the pinnacle of musical discourse.
You might.
You see in front of you a disciple of Beethoven. I bow before the might of his Razumovsky quartets.
We would be delighted.
Best foot forward then, Miss Scott. Thank you.
Best foot forward then, Mr. Gurney. What a bizarre young man. Best foot forward.
Here we go. They pull Goodbeer at Hazelmere and under Guildford Hill. They do indeed. At Little Cowfold, so I've been told, a beggar may drink his fill. Certainly may. There is good brew at Amberley too, and by the bridge also. But the stuff they take in at the Washington Inn is the very best beer I know. Come on, chaps. With my here it goes, there it goes, all the fun's before us. The doors ajar and the barrel is sprung, the tipples are broad and the night is young. I'm singing the best song ever sung, and it has a rousing chorus.
I've never had chance to work, for when a boy, small day was mine. Bedtime too soon came by.
Played football, hard as most, and at the cathedral worshipped surely, with its great rise and fall.
London came, with mastership and right rule indicating, dull bending to what hitherto had been of love's rating.
The long streets going onward without much joy, mean lodgings, far country, and duties employ for all those fires and strong compulsions.
To F.W. Harvey, 1914. Willie, I've done 5 of the most delightful and beautiful songs you ever cast your beaming eyes on. They are all Elizabethan and blister my kidneys, bisurate my magnesia if the music is not as English, as joyful, as tender as any lyric of that noble host. How did such an undigested clod as I make them? That, Willie, I cannot say. How do you get on? You written much? The bloody indigestion is slowly quitting. Meningite my cerebralis if I've not written for 3 hours today. Dawn of hope. May be well by midsummer. Do Muller's exercises. Spring. Spring. Spring!
Spring, the sweet spring, is the year's pleasant king. Then blooms each thing, then it stands in a ring. Cold doth not sting, the pretty birds do sing. Cuckoo, chuck-chuck-booey,
So this is the famous Herbert Howells.
I followed Gurney from Gloucester to the RCM a year later.
Howler!
I got a very warm welcome.
Mr. Howells.
Very warm.
Dear Mr. Ray, I have only today received your letter and its contents and felt I would like to inform you of this and that I will send you all the information you require in my power of what I can conjure up in my memory. I'm sure it is very nice that you are writing a thesis on my brother Ivor, and I trust the information you receive will be sufficient to write the biography you wish to do later. It was quite by accident that I heard that someone from America had been to the grave and that you had been seeking people who knew Ivor, so I was quite expecting to hear from you sometime. I remain, yours truly, W.M. Gurney.
Excuse me, Mr. Harvey, sir. Might I clear? Mr. Gurney gone, has he?
He's long gone, Rose. One of those night walks he loves so much. Following the bend of the Severn in pitch darkness.
We don't see so much of him now he's away at college.
Tonight Ivor took off by the traditional Gurney route, through the window. Before that, he picked holes in my last 2 poems. He played Bach on the piano for an hour and a half, and as you well know, he polished off 4 pots of tea. And then he legged it, off into the night. Ivor thinks that's what best friends do.
He be a good friend, coming all that way back from London up Minsterworth to see you, Mr. William. Did the mice get the cake, sir?
What he didn't eat, he's taken with him. Very partial to cook's fruitcake, is our Ivor. Maybe that's why his insides are so iffy.
Good night, Mr. William, sir.
One comes across the strangest things in walks. Fragments of abbey tithe barns fixed in modern, and Dutch sort houses where the water bulks weird up, and brick kilns broken among fern. Old troughs, great stone cisterns bishops might have blessed ceremonially, and worthy mounting stones. Black timber in red brick, queerly placed, where hill stone was looked for, and a manor's bones spied in the frame of some wisteriad house, and mill falls and sedge pools and Saxon faces. Stream sources happened on in unlikely places, and Roman-looking hills of small degree, and the surprise of the dignity of poplars at a road end, or the white Cotswold scars, or sheets spread white against a hazel tree. Strange, the large difference of up Cotswold ways. Birdlip climbs bold and treeless to a bend, Portway to dim wood lengths without end, and Crickley goes to cliffs are the crown of days.
I will go with my father a-ploughing to the green field by the sea, and the rooks and the crows and the seagulls will come flocking after me. I will sing to the patient horses with the lark in the white of the air, and my father will sing the plough song. My father will sing the plough song that blesses the cleaving share.
It's not just Herbert's eyes we're worried about. His heart races terribly. He's not a well man.
Poor little blighter. It can't be much fun for Herbert, cooling his heels here in Kensington, when so many chaps are in uniform. No amount of college prizes can make up for that.
Gurney's off shortly. Have you heard? The Gloucesters.
Inevitably.
A private.
Inevitably. His people are in trade, are they not?
Tailors. Oh, hello, Marion.
Tell us, Marion. Will Gurney be terribly disappointed not to get a commission?
Sure, the idea never crossed his mind.
Oh, come.
And don't imagine for a moment he'll stop writing. It'll take more than a war to stop Ivor.
Well, I do hope he refines his craft a little. All those double flats. Sir Charles must wring his hands.
On the contrary, I think Sir Charles is agog to see what Ivor will come up with next, even if it's not always to his taste.
I sometimes wonder whether originality is overrated. If Gurney wants to channel new ideas, he should look to Herbert's piano concerto. What a triumph!
And Gurney's Elizabethan songs. Have you forgotten those already? Come, sleep, and with thy sweet deceiving lock me in delight a while. That song is perfection. Bliss. He must build on that.
The building would proceed faster if he didn't modulate on the flat side every few bars.
And if he'd concentrate on his music, rather than messing around with those scrappy little poems.
Florence, you go too far.
Oh, Marion, that's right. You're trying to get them published.
The coming months will bring worse things for us all to endure. I suggest, dear Florence, that you criticise less and help out more. Our men will need your support. Good afternoon.
Touched a nerve there, Florrie.
Surely she can't have a crush on that great uncombed lug of a man. She's practically old enough to be his mother.
He's an unlikely heartbreaker. IBG.
To F.W. Harvey, February 1915. Dear Willie. Well, here I am, a soldier, in your own regiment, to go to Northampton on Monday for the 1st Reserve. I found myself remembering old things, old times, and it brought you very near. Meanwhile, there is a most bloody and damnable war to go through. Let's hope it will do the trick for both of us and make us so strong, so happy, so sure of ourselves that we may be able to live in towns and earn our living at some drudgery, and yet create whole and pure joy for others. I would give much for a couple of hours tea drinking and smoking with a piano and book talk, but that's not yet. Indeed, it may be very far away. Worse luck.
They fed him, I'll say that for the army. 3 meals a day and plenty of fresh air. No wonder Ivor was happy. He had a structure, see? None of that round our house. Never. You'd see Ivor on the pavement, head in the clouds. He was never the organised one. No, that was young Ronald. 2 brothers. They couldn't have been more different. He hated music, our Ronald. Couldn't understand why there was all this fuss about Ivor. Ronald thought he was putting it all on.
Over there! No, fuck's sake, Ivor, not so... Don't you point that rifle at me!
Your ass is soaking wet. Don't tell me.
No, hold it the other way round.
Sergeants are right arseholes.
Over here! Snowy! Give us a bit of room, Ivy.
He keeps pushing it. I'm going to give him...
Is that loaded? Careful!
So, what happens now?
Sweet Fanny Adams.
Again,
We keep watching them trees.
Was that it?
that's it, Snow.
They've forgotten we're here.
Another waste of our valuable time.
Oh, Jesus. Look, lads. Gurney, you mad bugger. He's writing another one of his Ponzi letters.
Come on, lads, it's nothing. No great shakes.
Right, what have we here? Private Gurney, 2nd 5th Gloucesters, Wintry Farm, Epping, Essex. Dear House.
No women in your life, I.B.
Careful.
I'm lying precariously on the edge of a pool, watching for signs of khaki over a hedge half a mile away, and cursing the army strongly and long. The aim of training troops is to make them as tired as possible without teaching them anything.
Yeah, you got that right.
Give it back, Billy.
If you do what you were told and have no objection to sudden death, that means a good soldier. They are as mad as hatters here.
Oh, who you calling mad?
Reveille at 5, roll call and rifle inspection at 6, breakfast at 6:30.
6:35, line up for the jigs.
Parade at 8:15, march or summit. Dinner 1:30 to 2:30. 2:45, swift wank.
No, I made that bit up.
Oh, generation of vipers. I joined to cure my belly.
Now, that's not funny, Billy. You shouldn't make fun of how people deal with their
May
inside...
the Lord play dirty tricks in great abundance on such malapert cockneys.
He's too much.
Where does he find them?
See, are you quite well now and able to let fly with a nimble pen? Write me a newsy letter, or at least a postcard. Jesus, the excitement. Yours, etc. IBG.
Training took all strength. None was left for shaping of word or sound.
Forgotten the gift.
Rattle-tattle.
Bugle call.
Button cleaning.
Leather shining.
Midland. East England. South England. Digging.
hard training, songs a few, verses few.
I'm homesick for my hills again, my hills again. To see above the Severn plain, unscarpeted against the sky, the blue high blade of Cotswold line.
To Herbert Howells, May 1916. Dear Howler, finis est, or rather, inceptus est. We go tomorrow. Little Howler, continue in thy path of life, blessing others and being blessed, creating music and joy, never ceasing from the attempt to make English music what it should be, and calmly scornful, heedless of the critics. Go on and prosper. And au revoir. I.B.G.
My heels again.
After Ivor's death, when I was in a nursing post during the Second War, I was stopped by the police for the usual inspection of identity cards on a very dark night. I rode an autocycle at that time until I had a fall, but the policeman looked at my card and said, "Are you any relation to Ivor Gurney, the songwriter?" Of course, I said, "Yes, I am his sister." He said, "I have all his songs." This took my speech away, and I have always felt a sense of shame that I could not make some reply. But this emotional makeup just paralyzes speech, so I rode off in silence.
The man was he who blinded his eyes all before his week of the line.
And took just as it came, patrol, bombardment, all but the mud shame.
Did fatigue straining his heart
And saw others fall.
Went over the top uselessly and without blame. Machine guns rattling hell a foot overhead.
Mended his wires, spotted raids, smoked his pipe in a hell of death. Escaping and afterwards dull a Grand Cour.
Frozen as shown.
Uttered vile words of the whole damn show.
Marched from Somme to St. Quentin.
Got wounded, saw ruin, Arras.
And for fear, and to be writing in comfortable dugouts, while Gloucester's had night without shelter.
Became a machine gunner at Wipers.
To Marion Scott, December 1916. My dear friend, we have come into reserve now, having gone through a strafe which a machine gunner who'd been through loose said was worse. It left me exalted and exulting, only longing for a nice blighty that would have taken me away from all this and left me free to play the G minor prelude from the second book of Bach. Someday, all this experience may be crystallized and glorified in me, and men shall learn by chance fragments in a string quartet or a symphony what thoughts haunted the minds of men who watched the darkness grimly in desolate places.
Oh, hello, you two. Marion, there's another review come out of Gurney's poems. I thought you'd want to see it too, Herbert. It's a local one.
How splendid.
I do hope it's as good as that one in the Telegraph.
Gloucester Journal. Review of Severn and Somme by I.B. Gurney.
He'll be thrilled.
Another Gloucester verse writer from the war zone, and a creditable one. I referred to F.W. Harvey's A Gloucestershire Lad a little while ago with much pleasure, for his pathos and his tunefulness. It is not so easy to place Ivor Gurney, private of the Gloucesters. It must be said, for Mr. Gurney's benefit, that he fails very frequently both in rhythm and metre.
Does he now?
What does this man know of metre?
When he comes back to Framalode or Minsterworth, that should be an hour of inspiration. But polish he must, even then.
Polish? He has boots to polish.
Well, Ivor's poems do have that same craggy quality as his music. Polish has never been Ivor's forte.
I'll leave the paper with you.
No, take it. And take this package to the post office while you're about it. Tobacco, lemonade crystals, the new poetry review, and a little chocolate this time.
Marion, you are such a trooper.
I do hope he likes them. It seems so paltry.
Mother's knitting away like mad at home. I sometimes wonder if our boys need all those socks.
It's freezing out there, Florence. Our men are covered in lice from head to toe. You might do a little knitting yourself. Now run along, girls. See if you can catch the post.
Maxwellton's praise are bonny when early falls the dew. And 'twas there that I...
Not now, Tug, for fuck's sake. If it gets any colder in here, I'll have icicles singing off my bollocks.
At least there's a roof over our head.
Not much of a roof. Any life left in the fire?
Not a lot. IB, would you stop that bloody scratching for once in your life and let us get some kip?
Almost done, almost done.
What you writing them, IB? You telling them about that leg in our trench? The stench coming off of it?
Yes. Tell them about the smell, Ivor. Tell them how, just once in a while, cordite drowns out the smell of shit and piss and mud.
Get some sleep, Snowy.
You can tell them about the mess I made just before the whistle blew. I don't mind. Tell them about the smell.
No shame in that, Snow.
They don't want to hear that. Ivor, is it that lady again? Tell her something nice.
Nice and soothing. Tell them about the smell.
To Marion Scott, February 1917. My dear friend, the boys are nearly all asleep. Outside it's bitterly cold. In here, not so bad. And good companionship hides many things. A miner, an engineer, a draper's assistant, a grocer, an inland revenuist, and a musician among them. Firelight. Silent. Bathed in firelight. In dusky light and gloom. The boys squeezed together in the smoky, dirty room. Crowded around the fireplace, a thing of bricks and tin, they watch the shifting embers till the good dreams enter in.
That fill the low hovel with blossoms fresh with dew, and blue sky and white cloud that sail the clean air through.
They talk of daffodillies and the bluebell's skyey bed, till silence thrills with music at the things they have said.
And yet, they have no skill of words, whose eyes glow so deep. They wait for night and silence and the strange power of sleep to light them and drift them like seabirds over the sea, where someday I shall walk again, and they walk with me.
Running straight for messages, desperate from Tillalloy to Porkytar.
Hell and hell's racket going through.
Or shaving at Richborg, holding the body straight till a shell burst the base sandbags.
Just missed a few feet.
Or on fatigues at Roncourt. Or before the wires of Vermont.
Lying, waiting for some hole.
Or some others to get through.
To get the whole business finished and done.
They retreated. We passed there, through most dreadful tangles of wire.
Impregnable it seemed with any of infantry fire.
Later, we found our comrade's grave.
They had buried him.
Found his body.
Loved his face.
carefully had carried him.
Snowy. Tended him.
And heard the words of commemoration said ceremonious over the white cross and little mound.
Dear Mr. Ray, I am so glad my efforts have pleased you, and I hope this further batch will add to help in your thesis and perhaps the biography. Please do not listen too much to my brother Ronald, and in particular his wife Ethel. Jealousy can destroy a family. Ivor was certainly loved by many who understood him, and I know he had attachments, but there was no engagements or definite plans for marriage. No one could blame any girl for having to reject Ivor, as he apparently was not sound enough in mind at the time, even if he was a suitable suitor from other standpoints. Yours, W.M. Gurney.
Gas changed all.
You jammy bastard.
Instead of moving south with the Fifth Army, chokes and gasps of gas moved a doctor's sympathy.
You lucky bugger.
Got by a tale of 5 hours gas bombardment, which was true. I brought that down.
Or keeping silence as to the real reason.
Which was 3 weeks at Wipers, without a rest, or laurel, nor yet a cypress. Seeing Veery lights going up from all quarters and all German. And yet, to go onwards, where the tangle of time and space might be somehow dissolved. Gas took me at last to the border of France, overseas, north to another border of Scott, Burns, Stevenson, Ballard. And all the greater things of making were more to me than the breaking of heart in battle.
Après la guerre finie, soldat anglais parti, Mazar français beaucoup plus raille. Après la guerre finie.
What are we getting now?
Après la guerre finie, soldat anglais parti, Mazar français in the family way. Après la guerre finie.
And how are my brave boys this morning?
All the better for seeing you, Nurse Wallace. All crisp and clean and neat and tidy and blue and white and Scottish all over.
I see Private Gurney's still hard at work.
Hell will freeze over before Ivor puts down his nimble pen. His nimble pen's famous.
You'll have had your tea, Mr. Gurney.
I have, Nurse Drummond, but I do declare I could happily murder another one. What are the chances?
Bugger all. Unless that sour old bitch of a matron puts the kettle back on.
Your chum is very bold, Mr. Gurney. I'll see what I can do about the tea.
My dear friend, Ward 24, Edinburgh War Hospital, Bangor, Scotland, is my present address. Last night I played for 2 hours and found, to my joy, that what I had hoped is true. Neurasthenia is a thing of the past. Rejoice with me, my friend, for that which was lost is found. Or, shall I say rather, its hiding place is known.
Mr. Bartleby, you keep your hands to yourself, or your favourite matron will be paying you a visit.
How lovely to hear the voices of Scottish women. Memory, let all slip save what is sweet of Wipers Plains. Keep only autumn sunlight and the fleet cloud after rains. Blue skies and mellow distance softly blue, these only hold, lest I shall share my panged grave with you, else dead, else cold.
My pulse seems to be racing, Nurse Wallace.
Nothing wrong with your pulse, Mr. Bartleby.
A certain amount of disappointment in the love affair came at a time when he was already ill and brought him to a very weak state. On the top of all this mental activity, his digestion completely broke down. I hope all my exertions in writing about him will help you accentuate the good part of his life and smooth over kindly and sparingly the distressing part.
Those books are never going to make it, especially not that way. Come here, you daft thing.
Did your mother never teach you how to pack a suitcase?
Says a lot his mother never taught him.
Must be time for your rest, Billy. My mother is guilty of many forms of neglect, Nurse Drummond, so we'll add that to the list.
Now, these you're going to have to give away.
No, not that one. That's Walt Whitman.
We'll be sorry to see you go. But Northumberland, it's not so far away. Just over the border.
Not far at all.
And here's one more book for you to squeeze in. That wee one you lent me. I'm afraid I only made it to halfway.
Oh, hang on to it, Nurse Drummond. Will Harvey be mortified to think you hadn't soldiered on to the bitter end? And anyway, maybe I'll be back from Northumberland sometime. I could pick it up then.
Aye, so you could, Mr. Gurney.
Ivor.
Ivor.
Annie Drummond. Annie and Ivor? Ivor and Annie? You malapert cockney.
Bugger off, Billy.
You're in there, boy.
Bugger off, will you?
Max Welton's braes are bonny, where early falls the dew, and 'twas there that Annie Laurie gave me her promise true.
To Herbert Howells, January 1918. My dear Howells. Well, I have just been to Edinburgh. About that magnificent place. Herbert Howells, it is just perfectly and radiantly all right. I have reached port and am safe. My goodness, but it was a hot pain leaving her. For the first time in ages, I felt joy in me, a clear fountain of music and light. Oh, Herbert, I forgot I had a body. To get her and settle down would make a solid rock foundation for me to build on. A home and tower of light.
Her voice is low and sweet.
So, how was the dirty weekend? Not as dirty as you're thinking. And by the looks of it, not as dirty as yours. You've got a smile on your face, my girl.
Aye, and not just on my face. I'm smiling all over me. So, what's with Mr. Poetry then? Mr. Piano and his dancing fingers?
Oh, Morag, he's a nice man, but he's awful intense. Morag, where in the name of Jesus is Framelode?
Framelode? Search me. Devon? Cornwall? Probably one of those wee clotted cream villages. I don't know how they tell them apart. Why? You thinking of going there?
No. No, I don't think I am.
A17, number 1, General Hospital, Newcastle. My dear friend, my inside having been a little extra troublesome lately, I went sick, and now am here. Well, I'm trying to write, but my mind is appallingly rusty. Alas, I have only 2 books with me, so if you've done with Edward Thomas, please return him, will you? It is unfortunate there is no one in the ward to whom I can talk. Not unexpected, however.
Marion, have you heard? Mr. Gurney is to get his scholarship back.
Glad tidings.
More autumnal poems.
More double flats.
Under the greenwood tree, who loves to lie with me and tune his merry note unto the sweet bird's throat. Come hither, come hither. Here shall he see no enemy, but wind and rough weather.
Will Vaughan Williams bring out the best in him?
I don't envy anyone trying to teach Ivor.
Who
doth ambition shun, and loves to live in the sun, seeking the food he eats, and pleased with what he gets.
Come hither, come hither, come hither. Here shall he see no enemy, but wind and rough weather.
Ivor Gurney, pupil of Ralph Vaughan Williams.
We must give him time. Our warrior will need time and space.
And soap.
And water. I'm glad you find it so amusing.
Gurney's Practical Tailor, 19 Barton Street, Gloucester. Dear Miss Scott, I should like to ask about my brother Ivor. Apparently, he thinks of returning to the college. I should like to know if it is true that they have asked him to come back. When I get the chance, I'm going to give him a rattling good talking to, and doubtless 3/4 of it will be disregarded. Ever yours sincerely, Ronald Gurney.
Well, it's a roof over your head, Ivor. I'll say that much for it. Not a lot of room, it's true, once you get a chair in as well. Do you think we might open the window? Oh, that could do with a wash, certainly.
London again. New Hope. Most terribly broken in 6 weeks. I clean-bodied to a bad shame of body. Who paid all the prices right of night walking, working at night, till sleep, or a memory came to call me to the night air, see dawn on the tiding of Thames.
We should go shopping. Find a few more clothes for you. Those socks have seen better days. Now look, have you seen what Marion's come up with? We're in business, Ivor, me boy. Just listen. Miss Marion Scott requests the pleasure of your company at a Gloucestershire evening. Songs and poems by Ivor Gurney, Herbert Howells, and F.W. Harvey. 92 Westbourne Terrace, 7:30 p.m.
That's not in Gloucestershire, Willie.
Marion will get half of London there. It's just what you need, Ivor. A springboard.
A springboard?
Spruce up, old man. Have a bath. Get a haircut. Sponge down your suit. The Gloucesters live to fight another day.
Really, Willie? But who are we fighting now?
After he went to London, I think he neglected himself badly. Money was short insofar as to afford books and the like, that he would go without food for too long, then get hungry and eat ravishingly, which more and more weakened his health. Then Ronald and Ethel stuck their noses in, and that only made matters worse. If only we could have broken down the terrible barriers and had a round-table conference, we should have been a happier and more united family.
Dwells in shadows. Do not forget me quite. Oh, seven meadows.
magical, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you, dear lady. Thank you. Ivor sent me this last song when the Boche had me under lock and key. I taught it to a fair number of our fellows over there.
The old bold mate.
It must be.
It rang out round Crayfelt prison camp, and with your permission, Marion, it can ring out round Westbourne Terrace too.
It can. It can.
Where's Gurney sloped off to now? Come on, Ivor, sing along.
Oh, some are fond of red wine, and some are fond of white, and some are all for dancing by the pale moonlight. But the rum alone's the tipple, and the heart still light. Of the old mate of Henry Morgan, of the old mate, of the old mate. The drum alone's the tipple, and the heart's delight. Of the old mate of Henry Morgan.
I do like that old bold mate. So we've heard. It's the talk of London.
Oh, some are for the lily, and some are for the rose. But I am for the sugar cane that in Jamaica grows. For it's that that makes the bonny drink to warm me copper. I say, old chap, are you quite finished? Says the old mate of Henry Morgan. Says the old mate. Says the old mate. For it's that makes the body drink to warm me copper nose. Says the old mate of Henry Morgan.
The serious verse now. Sober up, ladies.
Oh, some are sad and wretched folks that go in silk.
Sad and wretched folks.
And there's a more wicked rogue that live in good repute.
Wicked rogues.
So I'm for drinking honestly and dying in me boots.
Touché, Mr. Tailor.
Like an old mate of Henry Morgan. Like the old mate. Like the old mate. So I'm for drinking honestly and dying in me boots.
Big ending, Harvey.
Come on, man. Like an old bold mate of Henry Morgan.
Living honestly. Live honestly. Move on out, Ivor.
Irresistible, Mr. Harvey. Quite irresistible.
You owe these people nothing.
Now, Ivor. Where is Ivor?
Would you pay this price, Tug?
He's probably found the cakes.
I reckon you've paid enough, chum.
Bloody Gurney. Never there when you need him.
Tell them about the smell.
What I will pay to my God is that I will not sleep between sheets. Neither take rest unwanted, but work till the first small bird fleets past my window. To take rest then, new power, and to take it walking. To be of first flowers a friend, or the noble tree trunks talking. Resting so, without ever closing the eyes, or at all ceasing from work, till need or gratitude gives the word, and my soul. To keep strict thought, to honour, and have no envy, to honour water of a morning, and to lave my clean, fair body.
Upon the downs, the red-eyed kestrel hovers, eyeing the grass. The field mouse flits like a shadow into cover as the shadows pass. Men are burning adrift on the downs shoulder, a drift of smoke glitters and hangs, and the sky is smolder and the lungs choke.
29th of February 1920. My dear Marion, it seems Ivor walked last Tuesday from High Wycombe to a village 8 miles east of Oxford, took a train to a place on the Cotswold Ridge and walked across the hills to Crickley. He spoke emphatically of his need for open-air farm work to refurbish his musical mind and give him ideas. Ever yours, Herbert.
And today on the downs, in the wind, the hawks, the grasses, in blood and
hell are you doing? It's 3:30 in the bloody morning.
It's Opus 111. Didn't you recognise it? Willie, I thought it was your face.
You've woken the baby. You've woken half of Minsterworth. I don't give a damn what bloody Opus number it is. For the love of God, man, put a sock in it.
I'm not sure I don't prefer Opus 110, the Arioso. Oh, Willie, the Arioso.
Go home, Ivor.
Home? Yeah, good idea. Now, which home would that be, Willie?
Don't make me throw you out, old man. Pull yourself together in the name of Jesus. What's that you're eating?
Fruit pulp. I can recommend it, Willie. Excellent for the bowels. Overeating is the great enemy. Overeating and electricity. Now, about our song cycle, Willie. Oh, it's taking shape, I'm happy to tell you, and with just a few...
Go, Ivor. Just go.
Or what? You going to call the police? Going to throw out a 2nd, 5th Gloucester? Your old bold mate? Bugger off back to bed, Willie. I've work to do. You're in my way.
Ronald married a widow with a home. Recently, when they came to see me in my caravan, Ethel said, "Why don't you live in rooms?" I explained that I had to cut my coat according to my cloth. I have a luxury caravan, which I bought second-hand off a lady who had hoped to take it to Canada. The truth is that we never had a happy home. With Father, life was good, but with Mother, all was trouble and more trouble.
Come out from under there right now, Ivor.
The current's going into my bones now, into my blood. I can feel the electricity. Turn off that fucking radio.
We have Dr. Terry here to see you. He'll thank you to stop rolling around on our carpet. And he'll thank you in particular to mind your language. Stand up, man.
We'll all thank you to mind your language, honestly.
Unless I can have a proper look at you, Ivor, I won't be able to help you.
Help me? Turn off all that electricity if you want to help me. I am a soldier and a maker, and I do not deserve this torture.
Is he sleeping at all?
No.
And neither are we.
Eating?
1/2 pound of butter at one sitting. You call that eating?
Ethel, do you mind? No, Doctor, he refuses to take a square meal. Nothing in one end, but being no doubt all too much out the other. Pardon me, my dear, but what that man does in our bathroom defies belief.
The electricity is seeping through the walls. Have mercy.
I'll come again in the morning and have a proper look at him. Here's something in the meantime to help him get some sleep. 1 spoonful before bed. How's the baby doing?
How do you think the baby's doing with all this nonsense going on?
One spoonful before bed. 1 bottle before bed. One bottle after bed. 1 bottle becomes bed.
Ivor, what the hell do you think you're doing? I see. So that's your game. Trying to end it all. You selfish bastard. Ethel, get the doctor back. Now!
So, Marion, what's to be done?
He's starving, Florence. He's skin and bone. Support is what he needs, and proper food.
He's hardly likely to get those from the ghastly brother.
Or that hopeless sister in her caravan.
Marion, it's beyond any of us now. He needs professional help.
He needs people who understand him. He needs fresh air. He needs a square meal.
Dear Miss Scott, I am very much obliged to yourself for persistent help to rather an undeserving person.
To the Mayor of Gloucester. Sir, I pray in the name of God to be taken out of electrical influence.
It was the police at the end.
I am in the 4 walls of Barnwood House and cannot stand it. Continual electrical influence destroys...
It will only be done by his being permanently under discipline and a definite stronger will directing his life.
Dear Miss Scott, rescue me while I'm sane.
He used to go to the police and ask them for a revolver as he wanted to commit suicide.
Treat him like a stubborn boy.
Ivor Gurney, in the name of God.
And not like a cultured genius.
Dear Ronald, Why have you not taken me away?
And so the police came and said, you'll have to have him seen
Kindness is wasted.
Look after Mother, please. Gloucester Police Station is tormenting.
Try the other way.
Yours, I.B. Gurney. My pain has been very great.
We had him put to Barnwood House, first of all. Well, he got out of there twice.
He will not again be allowed to drift.
Dear Miss Scott, I ask your especial mercy to have me away from here.
And we thought it would be best to have him put right away somewhere where he couldn't get home.
For indeed much awfulness do I endure.
So we went to Dartford, was
Being
it?
afraid of further torture, I want death.
Yes, Dartford. That's it.
Continually praying for death.
And how many years was he in there? 15? 16?
In the name of God.
I really can't remember.
I have come to the borders of sleep, the unfathomable deep forest where all must lose their way, however straight or winding, soon or late they cannot choose.
Cuppa, Mr. G? Now, that's not clever. You're going to have to watch that temper, young man.
Love ends despair, ambition ends, all pleasure and all trouble, although most sweet or bitter, here ends in sleep. That is sweeter than tasks most noble.
No point asking for pen and paper. Dr. Steen says no. It's pencils only, Mr. G, until you start shaping up. Asylum rules. Christ, we got a right one here.
There is not any book or face of dearest look that I would not turn from now. To go into the unknown.
I'm going to leave the tea here. Now, are we going to drink it this time? We don't want another mess. We've had quite enough mess in this room, Mr. G.
I must enter and leave alone. I know not
What's the story here, Steen?
6420. Health not good. Ulceration of the stomach several years back. Gassed and wounded in the war. Auditory hallucinations. But the real trouble, according to Mr. 6420, is the constant electrical tricks being played on him.
Who's playing the tricks?
Airborne, apparently. Thoughts attack him, Templeton. Often violent, often sexual. Voices in his head. Still on suicide parchment, so the lads are keeping an eye on him. At least, my dear Dr. Templeton, we've got him off the ward. A fellow called Vaughan Williams is stumping up for the private room.
Shell shock?
Clearly. Part of him is still in France.
Syphilis?
Seems not. Delusional insanity, by the looks of it.
Treatment?
Well, let's start him on dial, see how he goes. Add sulfonol in a while.
Says here he was assistant organist in Gloucester Cathedral.
That I would like to see.
Not gone near our tea, have we? We won't grow out big and strong that way now, will we?
Don't touch those books. They're private. You have no right to touch. Don't touch them. Don't go near them!
Temper. So, what's for the post today?
Forced meals there have been.
3 more release letters for Reg, your friendly postman.
And weakening of sanity by influence that's dreadful to endure.
You want to put proper addresses on, chum. They might get through.
And there are orders.
St. Clement Danes Church now appealing for pardon.
And I am praying for death, death, death.
To the May Queen of London.
And dreadful is the indrawing or outbreathing of breath.
To the United States of North America. Unjust detainment. That'll make a big impression. Right we are, Mr. G. I'll pop them in the post.
Because of the intolerable insults put on my whole soul.
She's all right, that Miss Scott. Always some goodies for our Ivor every time she visits.
Yes, I've noticed she never arrives empty-handed. A kind woman. Did you put the seconal in his tea?
I did, sir. Calmed the old fella down a bit.
And bunged him up a bit too, no doubt.
Well, that's not happening any time soon, Doctor. His lavatorial manoeuvres bring tears to my eyes. Bunged up. That's the one thing he's not.
Yes, he's big on cleanliness, our fella. Still hearing voices?
He has these conversations, sir. It's as if there are people in the room with him. He's off in a little world of his own.
Did you give her one?
No.
Did you?
No.
Did you?
No.
Did you give her one? Did you give her one? Did you give her one?
No.
Give her one?
No.
Did you give her one? Did you give her one? Did you give her one?
Stand still, Gurney, will you? Let me take a look at you. Stop wriggling, will you?
No! Dr. Steen, are you all right, sir?
I never gave her one. It wasn't like that. You don't understand.
He's out of control, sir.
No, let him calm down. Stay with him. Let's wait and see. Let's calm down. Let's all calm down.
I'm going to Dartford on Sunday. Would you care to join me, Herbert? It's been a while.
If only this weren't such a busy part of term right now, Marion. I'm not sure I can slip away.
Rafe visited a couple of weeks back. Did he tell you? He packed 3 of our brightest and best into his motor and he drove them down to Kent, where those young collegians made music. They read through some of Ivor's new pieces, yes, right there, in one of those ghastly grey rooms with those other poor lost souls there too, looking on, bewildered.
I'd be bewildered hearing music like that. One can hardly be surprised.
Herbert, how can you be so cruel? Writing is all he's got left, his precious making. And it seems that within the asylum he's rather overstepped the mark, a flare-up. He punched one of the doctors.
Oh, Lord. Ivor and his temper.
Not a sight of the family. No word from the dreaded Ronald, not as much as a squeak from that hopeless Winifred. He needs his friends.
Isn't Vaughan Williams a marvel? Dear, dear Rafe.
Ivor sits there day in,
day out. Poems about Gloucestershire, letters begging for his release.
Marion, Rafe's made of sterner stuff than me, hewn from a different block of marble.
There are scraps of a string quartet, a violin sonata, huge letters in verse justifying himself through his service.
I'm simply not sure I can face it. Face him.
His mind is still working, sometimes working marvellously, but it's dislocated from his body. Can't you see? When he was in the trenches, he wrote about home. Now that he's locked away in Dartford, he can finally write about France. He's still living with the other soldiers. They're etched into his brain. They're more real to Ivor than we are.
Yes, all right, Marion. I get the message.
Just take him down some biscuits, some oranges. Just go.
If only Dorothy hadn't made plans for the weekend.
Jaw mending, Steen?
I'll live.
So, what now? Restraints?
On the contrary, I think that'd be a disaster. Gurney keeps asking for outside work. I was wondering about the poultry farm.
The farm? Isn't that rather old-fashioned?
Do you have any better ideas? Oh, Templeton, I see where this is going. You're going to suggest the Viennese treatment, aren't you?
Well, it has had some spectacular results.
Become a doctor and inject your patients with malaria. Who'd have thought it?
It could rebalance him, perhaps even socialise him. Look, Gurney's walloped you once already. He assaults me with barrack room language any time I go near him. What's to lose?
You youngsters, always so keen to try out your new ideas. I suspect the poor chap just wants to get out into some fresh air. But then, who am I to stand in the way of medical progress? Malaria injections. Very well, Templeton. Try it.
Cuppa, Mr. G. So, who are our letters for today? To the city of Bapham?
Bapaume. It's in France.
To the Old Vic. That's a new one. Morning, Dr. Templeton.
Morning.
To Hilaire Belloc.
Hello, Gurney.
To the Metropolitan Police. Again. Right you are, Mr. G. We'll get these in the post.
What's happening?
Don't you worry, old man.
What's going on here, Templeton? You could fuck right off out of my room.
It's all going to be fine.
Hey, get your leg off me, wretched bastard! Get out!
Calm down, it's just a little needle.
Richborg, Fokissar, Laventie.
You'll feel much better afterward.
Grandcourt, Thiepval, Vermont.
There. Done. You're going to be a new man.
Vermont. I am a soldier and a maker, and I do not deserve such torture.
Leave it to us. You're going to be a new man. Just leave it to us.
Thiepval. Vermont. I am a soldier and a maker.
Right. Time for the quinine. Let's get that sleeve up. There. That'll do the trick. We'll have you back at that Joanna in no time.
Come on, old fella, let's get you dressed. Have a look at you. There's a picnic on the weekend. Let's see if we can get you into some sort of shape for that. Tea time soon.
Long shines the thin light of day to northeast. The line of blue, faint known, and leaping to white. The meadows lighten, mists lessen, but light is increased. The sun soon will appear and dance, leap in with light. Day's wind is blowing.
Come on through, Miss Scott. Madam.
Thank you. Marion, after you. You go first, please.
No improvement physically, I'm afraid. Mostly biddable at the moment. He's still losing weight and we're having some dental worries too.
Hello, Ivor, dear. How are you?
I'm not sure if we're Shakespeare today or Beethoven or Tolstoy. We've been Tolstoy a lot these last few weeks.
I've brought you some more books and some fruit. And look, I've got a new friend with me today, Ivor. This is Helen Thomas, Edward Thomas's widow.
Mr. Gurney, I've been looking forward to this moment. You've put music to Edward's poems. Marion's told me. I so long to hear them.
And it's such a lovely day out. I thought that later we might take
Helen Thomas? You are Helen Thomas? You're Edward's wife?
Yes, I am.
And Edward is dead?
Yes, he is. He died all the way back in 17, Arras.
Of course he did. The electricity took him too. At least it killed him, though. Lucky blighter. Helen Thomas. Edward's wife. I know you. You are light as dreams, tough as oak.
Precious as gold, as poppies and corn, or an old cloak. More old cloak at this point than precious gold. Fancy you knowing that. Have you made that a song?
Of course I have. And look, your hat's a poppy. Well, nearly. You brought flowers. Not many flowers in here, are there, Miss Scott? Did you bring in the cricket scores too? Leipzig are playing Somerset.
I've never been to this part of Kent. It's prettier than I'd expected. And the grounds here
No point, Kent. They make me walk round their yard. That way the electrical current can bounce off the walls. Nothing to see here anyway, Kent. This county means nothing to me. Last I heard, Leipzig were 137 all out, but they got that cheeky little spin bowler, little terrier. Our lads are going to have to go some to get on terms.
Marion takes you out. She's been telling me.
Yes, we have our jaunts. Rochester, Canterbury, those marvellous cathedrals.
Weak stuff. Do you love the West, Mrs. Thomas?
Is one of those books Edward?
Yes. That red one. I love it. Brahms likes it too. Actually, it's one of his favourites. Schumann? Well, it's a bit rugged for Schumann. He's more of a John Masefield man.
Last I heard, it was 54 for 3.
Helen, dear, we don't want to tire Ivor out.
Could go either way.
If only we could lure Beethoven away from Walt Whitman, that's the challenge. But then, Beethoven's always been a stubborn fucker, as you know.
May I visit you again, Mr. Gurney?
Move her on out, Ivor.
Would you? Let me know and I'll check my calendar. If I'm not praying for release or death, I might be able to fit you in.
Not sure we still need the old bat anymore. We're fine the way we are.
Now, Dr. Howells, if I can just get this microphone in the right place. There. Comfortable?
Perfect, my dear. Thank you.
Give me something for level, would you? How about the names of your grandchildren?
Oh, come, my dear, you make me feel like a dinosaur. I'd like to think there's a glimmer of life left in the old dog yet.
That's fine. Thanks. We're rolling. So now, Dr. Howells, you were saying about Ivor Gurney?
His insanity really was there from the word go. It didn't need the Battle of the Somme. Stanford said he'd got more genius than anybody he'd ever taught, but was absolutely unteachable. He felt Gurney would end up insane, which is exactly what happened. He was 17 years, shut away. No sign of his family. We only ever heard from his brother later, when he smelled money. In the end, only 3 people went anywhere near him. VW, and myself, and this wonderful woman, Marion Scott.
Super. I'm amazed your memories are still so vivid, actually, after all these years. I'd love to do some photographs, if I may, then try drawing from them. Do you mind?
Of course, my dear. How would you like me? Shall we go outside? Better light, I think.
And what a charming idea, brightening up that ward for Harvest Festival. It looked entirely different.
Marion tells me you have concerts here quite regularly.
Concerts, Mrs. Thomas. They turned the village band on us, and manners failed.
Well, it's my turn to bring in the treats today. Some chocolate, a couple of books. Not that you need more books, but you can't really have enough.
Miss Scott, meant to ask, is it true you're starting up your own string quartet?
Well, not exactly starting up.
It's just, I've written a set of 3 quartets, absolute crackers. I'd love for you to have a bash through them.
Of course, dear.
Count Razumovsky asked me for them, but I'm sure he won't mind. I'm just doing some carpentry on the last one now, fixing up a fugue in C major. It goes like the clappers.
And I've also brought in this. I don't know if you'd find it interesting. This was Edward's. It's his old Ordnance Survey map of Gloucester and the hills around it. The Forest of Dean, Cotswolds. I don't know if it's of any interest. A bit battered. Whether you want to look? It won't tell you anything you don't already know.
Minsterworth. The Harveys.
Let's spread it out. There. Not really room on the table.
Framelode. That bend in the river, right there, that's where we kept the Dorothy, just there, see? And further down there's Pryden, Newnham. Then go on further down still and you get...
The angels are stooping above your bed. They weary of drooping with the whimpering dead.
We'll go up the other way. There's Maysmore. Did Edward go there ever?
He did. He loved it.
And cut over to Twigworth. Or down Hatherley. Lydney, home to little Howard.
To see you so good, the shining seven I gave with his
And go back further east, there's Cranham. Don't forget Cranham. Or Birdlip. Climb up Birdlip, the wind's on there.
kiss you, my pigeon.
You wrote a song about Cranham years ago, you and Will Harvey.
Will Harvey, yes, the absent F.W. Harvey.
When I come next, I'll bring some more maps.
More maps? Why? This one's all we need.
Oh, how I shall miss you when you have
Come along, dear. We must be off.
Goodbye, Mr. Gurney.
Goodbye, Ivor. Beethoven. Schubert.
Dear Mr. Ray, I went to Twigworth, took 3 photos of the grave. The inscription on Ivor's stone is, "To the memory of Ivor Gurney, musician and poet. He loved and made beauty, 1890 to 1937. He shall lie beside the waters of comfort." I have also got 2 postcards of the cathedral that you may like. They are good, and it seems part of the biography. Yours sincerely, W.M. Gurney.
When the body might free, and there was use in walking, in October time, crystal air time, and free words were talking in my mind, with light tunes, and bright streams ran free. When the earth smelt, leaves shone, and air and cloud had glee. Then there was salt in life, but now none is known to me, who cannot go either where the white is blown of the grass, or scarlet willow herb of past memory. Nothing is sweet to think in, nothing from life free.
Cuppa, Mr. G.
In A Soldier and a Maker by Ian Burnside, Ivor Gurney was played by Richard Golding, Winifred Gurney by Stephanie Cole, and Marion Scott by Gemma Redgrave. Florence, Nurse Drummond, and Helen Thomas were played by Zoe Waits, Reg the Orderly, Herbert Howells, and Ronald Gurney by David Shaw Parker, and Dr. Templeton and Snowy by Alexander Cobb. Nicholas Allen played Tailor, Holly Marie Bingham, Rose and the Radio Girl, Dominic Felix, Billy, Katie Grosset, Nurse Wallace, Bethan Langford, Ethel Gurney, Jevon Macaulay, F.W. Harvey, Fraser Scott, Wilf, and Adam Sullivan, Tug and Dr. Terry. Ivor Gurney's songs were performed by members of the cast and mezzo-soprano Susan Bickley. Ian Burnside played the piano throughout. The play was developed in association with the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Sound presentation was by Wilfredo Acosta. The producer was David Morley. A Soldier and a Maker was a perfectly normal production for BBC Radio 3. The director was Philip Franks.
Ian Burnside's A Soldier and a Maker was first broadcast earlier this year, and it'll be available on the Radio 3 website for the next 30 days.